Well, Merry Christmas, A-League fans. It's finally the day. The A-League is back. But before you get your dose of action tonight between the Mariners and the Victory, we're going to give you our season review. Not review, preview. Jumping the gun there. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Let's preview the season, Samuel. Before we get into it, how are you feeling, mate? The A-League is finally back after the 9-month off season.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. It's A-League season. Let's go. That's how I'm feeling. I've been wearing a Sydney FC shirt every day this week. Just people know. It's time.
Yeah, that's good. They need to know. And it's been all over mainstream media as well. It's been the Telegraph, it's been the SMH, it's been on mainstream television. So really good support heading into what's going to be a fantastic opening round. Now we're not going to preview the games. We're going to preview each club by club. And so, of course, our good friends, Adelaide United, they're first, as they always are. They weren't pipped by Auckland in the alphabetical list. Adelaide United, what's the vibe for you for Adelaide United? Because I don't have much of a vibe for them. I'm not feeling much from them this season.
I think they've just kind of lost a lot of fun. Nestor Irankunda was fun. He was fun to watch. Vibes. Yeah. Losing him, losing Ibasuki's big for them. So I think they've tried to bring some players in, but youth is going to be where they excel. Like if they can keep bringing through these young players, then they'll still be fun to watch. Adelaide's a great place to play football. I just don't see them making the 6, though. How about you?
Yeah, I don't think they'll make the 6 either. Like you said, youth will be key for them. Like it has been a lot in previous years with Irakunda and the Torre Bros. Like they're really good at developing those juniors. They've brought in Ben Falami, Archie Goodwin, some interesting pickups there. Dylan Perez, thank goodness, praise the Lord, he's gone to Adelaide. So there's some interesting signings for them. But I think they'll be reliant on youth, and I think the stocks of their youth is probably good, but just not as good as the ones have been producing in recent years. So for me, I don't think they're making the 6. I've got them coming 10th on my little list I've put here together. So
look,
if that doesn't come back and bite me.
I do think like Amlani Tattoo looks really good. Archie Goodwin's a good young player. Like there are quality. Bart Vreens we haven't talked about, but big centre back. They've got some quality. Obviously, Stephen Mork's a big player for them, but that's right. I don't see it quite being a fantastic season. I've got them coming 9th.
Okay, so I think we're vibing the same kind of thing about where they're going to finish. They're going to miss the 6, and they're not going to be necessarily close, like 7th or 8th. But anyway, let's move on to the new boys. So I'm really excited for, looking like they're heading towards a sellout for their first game. Auckland FC. What do you think of them? Because I have a really good vibe about Auckland. I think they're going to do really well. Like the most recent expansion teams, MacArthur, Western United, even the Wanderers, they start in their first season really well. I think Auckland FC have got some good foundations to have a really successful season. Obviously, Steve Corica, a championship-winning coach. They've picked up all their players have been picked up because they're all brand new. But I really like that Hiroki Saka they've picked up from Japan. A buttload of games in the domestic game over in Europe for the national team. I think he's probably one of our most underrated signings to join the A-League. Of course, you've got your big names like Heskey and Ono and Del Piero and Costa and Mata that we'll get into, but I just think he's a really, really quality player they've picked up. They're going to have a really good defense this year.
Yeah, look.
What do you think of them?
My joke was going to be that obviously great squad kind of cohesion because no outs, no signings.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, how good's that?
Really good. Look, they've picked up some really good players. I love that they've picked up players from the New Zealand kind of Premier League as well and introduced them, giving a shot to New Zealand players. That's what a second club in New Zealand should be all about. And Wellington do the same. But Hiroki Sakai is going to be immense. Also, I think one of their best pickups was, and my mind has gone blank, midfielder from Melbourne Victory.
Jake Brimmer.
I was trying to find him in the list of names. Brimmer is a fantastic pickup for them. I think they could go really well. We know Steve Corica, he's got pedigree, so I think everything looks really good off the field. We wait to see how they go on the field, but almost a sellout for their very first game. Hopefully they can win that and bring fans along. So much to like about how they've set up as a club. I don't think they're going to be successful over the season. I just think that the league is really competitive. It looks like it's going to be really competitive this year. And so I've got them finishing 8th.
8th. Well,
whoa, there goes the shirt. Boom.
I'm going to go nowhere near 8th. I'm going to go 3rd. I reckon, you've got to pick an upset. You've got to pick someone that's probably going to try and break the status quo. And I think Auckland, they've got the right coaching there. They've got some really good players. It's all about the cohesion. If they get that right, I think they're going to have a really good season. But like you said, I think it's going to be ultra competitive.
You're far too fun. I'm way too boring and conservative with my picks, but good on you.
Well, I just thought, everyone's going to have a lot of teams that, I'm sure we'll get to it, that we think will be competing for the top 2. But I thought, I've got to throw it in there. Just got to throw a bit of a surprise one. Auckland, I reckon they're going to finish 3rd.
Good on you. Good on you. Moving on to Brisbane Roar. Obviously, Ruben Zadkovic has had a full pre-season with the club. They've made some signings, but not a huge. The big one is Indonesian player Rafael Struik, who's in the national team. Scored a goal the other day. Jay O'Shea is still going and a really quality midfielder. Tommy Waddingham up front, great little striker who's really just progressing in that team. But let's be honest, it's still not a fantastic squad, is it?
No, I want to hear your reason why, if you haven't put them 13th, why you haven't. Because I've got them coming last. I don't think they're inspirational at all. I think Tommy Waddingham, he'll be going to Europe or to a better A-League team in the near future, very soon.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't know. I don't really like the squad. This Rafael Struik, he brings a lot of Instagram followers, but how good he'll be on the field, I don't really know. Harry van der Sar's come in, a bit of a journeyman there. Ben Halloran, there's a few Adelaide guys have picked up, but I think those are players that are probably past their peak. Yeah. I don't think Ruben Zatkovic is a particularly good coach.
I don't see him lasting.
I've never. No.
Yep, same.
I've
got him 13th.
You got him 13th? Yeah, well, I have him 13th. So there we go. That's our first agreement. For the preview vid, who have we got up next? Is it the Mariners?
It's the Central Coast Mariners, of course, alphabetical order. What do you think? It's
pretty big news this week. Pretty big news. Trent Sainsbury's been ruled out to the new year with a chest injury.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a blow for them, because I thought him and Brian Kaltak, I was like, that's going to be superb centre back partnering, and to lose him.
I think they obviously Asian Champions League Elite is a difficult competition. They've really struggled in their opening games in that. That being said, the squad is still fairly good. They've got some great midfielders. They know what they do well, and Mark Jackson, he did wonders last season. I don't think the drop-off is going to be that big. I think they've got enough about them. Obviously, Sainsbury's a huge loss for the first couple of good bunch of rounds, but I think they've got depth in other areas. So I don't think it's going to be too bad, because they didn't have Sainsbury last year, and look how that ended up with a treble. So I've got them still coming 3rd for this season. I like what they're doing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people last year thought they were going to have a bit of a rough season, with the players they lost and the new manager they brought in. I have them finishing 5th, but just looking at some of their outs, Dan Hall, Jing Reese, Danny Vukovic is retired, and Hal Torres, who, for obvious reasons, isn't with the club anymore. Max Ballard, Josh Nisbet, Jacob Farrell. That's some quality players they've lost.
Absolutely.
But in saying that, it's still a good squad. Brian Kaltak, Trent Sainsbury, when he is back. Alo Kuol, Mikel Docker, Storm Rue. It's still a really good squad. A lot of question marks, I would say, probably around their goalkeeper, Adam Pavlicic is the number one at the moment, but I don't know. I've seen a few games in the Champions League. I'm not entirely convinced by him. But I still think they'll have I think they should be making the top 6. But I have them coming 5th. You've got them coming a bit higher. But I still think they'll be competing for the top couple of spots.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Moving on to MacArthur, and I'd be interested to see where you put them. Last time they won the Australia Cup, they got the wooden spoon. I don't know about this season. I think people are underrating them. They've kind of got that history in the past. Obviously, like the club is just pure A-League basket case. They can't sign any players until they pay Dwight York. They've had the whole scandal from last season, which has left them without some players. That being said, I mean, they've brought in players like Luke Bratton and Marin Yakulis, which are really tidy pickups. Valerie Germain is a fantastic striker. He's absolutely mental. Like he's on.
He's a dickhead.
I would love to see him up against Berisha because those two are a match made in heaven. But he's a good striker, and Curto, I think he just flies under the radar as well as just one of the best goalkeepers in the competition's history, not just in the competition currently. What a goalkeeper. So I think there's actually a lot to like about this squad. I think they're going to make the 6th this year. I've got them coming 4th in the regular season.
I had them lower in my prediction, but maybe I'll bump them up position. I don't think they'll make the 6th. I reckon they'll come 7th, but all those players you mentioned there's one I'm really interested to see how it go is Harrison Sawyer, who's signed from South Melbourne. He's been one of the best players going around in NPL Victoria for the past couple of years. He's been banging in goals for fun for South Melbourne this year. I'd be really keen to see how he goes playing at the A-League level. I think we've seen a few NPL players joining A-League clubs ahead of this season to make the jump up, which I'm really keen because there's so much talent out there. I think Harrison Sawyer will be a one to watch. But yeah, like you said, it's going to be super competitive. I think they'll be definitely competing for those bottom top 6 spots in the finals, but I think they'll miss out and come 7th. Hopefully.
Moving on to another team that I don't know how people actually think about them, Melbourne City. Bradley, what do you think Melbourne City are going to do this season?
I think they're pretty good on paper. I think they've got a few players out. I think I was reading on X today. I think Lecky is injured for a bit. But on paper, I think it's a pretty decent squad. Nathaniel Atkinson, who's probably not gone exactly how he would have liked to have gone in Europe, but was still one of the... Was he a left back, right back, left back?
Yeah,
was probably one of the best left backs in the comp before he left, and I still think he'll come back and he'll play really well. Andrew Naboot, we know what he's capable of. Azi Bajic, Marco Tulio's on loan as well. Jimmy Jack, it's a handy squad. I don't think it's going to be good as Melbourne City have been in previous years when they won 3 premierships in a row and was one of the best teams going around. I think they'll come 6. I think they'll make the 6. It's still, for me, I think it's a pretty handy squad. But I'm not convinced of Aurelio Vidmar as a coach. I think he only got the gig because he was assistant before when the other guy got sacked. And he just ended up with the job. But anyway.
Yeah, look, I think their overseas signings aren't amazing, but they're decent players. And the City have this history. They've got a great scouting network. So, they're going to be the right kind of player for the A-League. They've unearthed some really good players before. Obviously, they've lost one of their big signings from last season, which is Tolgay Arslan, who's gone and started absolutely slamming it in the J-League. He's a big loss, but that just kind of shows you when they sign a player who's not particularly well known, they know what they're doing. So I think these guys like Vicente Fernandez, players like Andreas Kuhn and Jonathan Cohen, and I think the other one that we should look out for is German Ferreira. They're not household names, but I think they could be quite classy players. But obviously losing Jamie McLaren, Curtis Good, they're big losses. Leo Natel is no big loss for them. Thank God he's left. But I think, like you said, I don't think the vibe is quite right at City. I've got them coming 6th as well. I'm just really disappointed. You've got Sydney FC signing Costa, you've got Wanderers signing Mata, and you've got Melbourne City here with the backing of Manchester City, and they just like that's the club that should respond then in that situation and go, cool, let's sign. I don't know, like whoever the MLS is trying to get from Europe before them. Like they've got the wherewithal to do that. They just never do, and that kind of annoys me. They've had David Villa for 2 games, and that's all they've really contributed in terms of actual star power.
And that was right at the beginning of the City Football Group time.
Yeah, but I don't want to jump on that hobby horse for too long. So I think we'll pass on. I've got them coming 6th. I don't think the vibes are quite right, but they've got enough quality to make the 6th.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Who we got next? Is it Nui?
Melbourne Victory.
Oh, Melbourne Victory. Who could forget? Who could forget the third best team in Melbourne?
Well, I think it's going to be hard to forget them this season because they look good. They made the final of the Australia Cup, finalists last year in the championship. They look like they've got a really decent side. Just not that they've added a whole lot of massive quality. It's just that it's just a good squad they've got.
Yeah, I agree.
Adding in Josh Rowlands is great. Jim Reese from the Mariners is a handy pickup. Piscopo, if they can get him working well, I think he's a great replacement for someone like Economides to try. And some of these players like Mitch Langeret coming in around Christmas time is going to be huge. Nikos Virgos looks decent, and they've just signed another player, Rodriguez from Brazil. So they're adding some flair. I think, it's a strong squad.
Yeah, I think it'll be competing for one of the top positions in the league. I think my only question mark is around the coach, Patrick Casnorbo. I think a lot of Victory fans saw him as public enemy number 1, being a former City player and a City coach. And I think he would have done he probably wouldn't have helped his cause with the whole drama around Azani in the final but I think, basically BSing the fans and saying, I was experimenting. And, I think fans know when they're being lied to. And I think it wasn't a good start for his tenure to flat out lie to the fans. And I don't think Azani would have made, he's the difference between, losing or winning that cup final. They definitely had enough chances to win that final. But yeah, I think, if it was any other coach, you lose a couple of games, I think the fans okay, let's bounce back. But he loses a couple of games, the fans are going to be on him pretty hard. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Look, he's a good, he is fantastic. He's shown that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Obviously, hard times in France, but he's got a philosophy. He's going to stick with it. If it comes off, it comes off.
Yeah. And when he was in France, I think, who was he at? Who was he at? Whoever he was at, I feel like it was a bit of a sinking ship.
Part of the City group. Yeah.
Yeah. So, listen, I've got them coming 2nd. There's no reason why they couldn't come 1st as well. I think they're going to be really strong again this year. Troyes, I don't know how to say it. That's where Kisnorbo was at. But I've got them coming 2nd.
Yeah, so do I. I think really strong. 2nd. They'll be up there all season long.
Yeah,
and
sure.
and if they can get the fans on their side, it's a hard place to go for any team to go to Amy Park with a packed out terrace.
Yeah, for sure.
Newcastle
now we
Jets.
go to Nui. Yeah,
let's go. I don't think they're going to be up around 2nd, 3rd kind of place. Newcastle Jets.
Wow, what a hater.
Rob Stanton's had a full season and a proper kind of off season now, so I think that's good. He's a good coach and he'll do good things. They just don't have the same kind of squad that can mix it with some of these other teams in the A-League.
They've brought in one of the best players in the league in Lachlan Rose. Surely that's got to get you. That's an easy, they might as well start with 9 points already.
Yeah, that's right. Lucky Rose. Did you know he played in NPL 3?
NPL? Yeah, he did. I can't believe that. I almost forgot about that.
Look, I think some of the players who've stuck around there, though, deserve good seasons. Ryan Scott, Clayton Taylor, Mark Natter. These are players who have been given the opportunity as young players, and they've progressed, and they're ready for these kind of seasons where they continue to progress. I think those are all good things for the Jets. I just don't see them really challenging big teams.
No. Yeah. Hopefully it's a better season off the field for them now that the ownership thing's all sorted, and hopefully they can build on that. But no, I don't think they've got a squad that can do much. I've got them coming 11th.
Yeah, I've got them coming 10th.
Okay, a bit higher.
Lovely. Cool. All right, let's move on. Perth Glory. What you got? What you got for Perth? What are they doing?
I mean, they came last year, so I don't think they can go any worse than that. They picked up a few South American guys. Oh yeah, new coach. David Srilich, yeah. Is that his first head role?
That's right. So
yeah,
he was assistant at Sydney, pretty much the mastermind, people thought, behind the high press. So he could be bringing quite an interesting style of football to Perth. Has he got the players to do that though? That's my worry.
Yeah, probably not. Josh Risden, Brendan O'Neill, Nathaniel Blair. I think he's going to have a really good year. I can't believe the Wanderers let him go because he was scoring goals for fun in the NPL. But never really got his chance.
Wellington's a good signing. Taras Gamulka. So he actually has done quite well to pick up some good players. Josh Risden, Brendan O'Neill. These are important players who've got great pedigree in the A-League. Yeah, maybe
I've got them coming 9th though.
I have them 11th. Yeah, 11th. I maybe actually looking at this squad, they could do better, but no, I think 11th is probably where they'll be.
Yeah. Okay. You 11th. I've got 9th. Oh, great. Now we're going to go into Sydney FC.
Yeah.
Where you got them?
It's really stupid. I do this every year. No, I don't do it every year, but that front six, they're first for me. And what we've seen so far of players like Costa, he has something to add. If he can stay interested, if we can win, he'll be great. Anas Wahim looks fantastic. Leo Sena's great quality. You've still got Caceres. You've still got Joe Lolly. Klimala up front. It's awesome. The back line's a little worrying. Hayden Matthews great. Popovic is a good prospect. Jordan Courtney Perkins showed things. Ryan Grant, it's a good squad. I think they win a lot of games by outscoring the opposition. Obviously, that's how you win football. But I'm talking Sydney are probably winning games
5-4,
4-2, 5-3. I think we can see goals, but I think Sydney score a lot of goals this season. And if it all clicks and players stay fit, that it's a good squad. It's real good with great depth as well from the young players.
Yeah, I've heard that people speak very highly of that Moroccan guy. Some people tipping him for Johnny Warren really early. So be interesting to see how he goes, and I'm sure it'll be exciting for you to see how he goes. It won't be particularly exciting for me to see how he goes, but I think that the front part of the team, the forwards, the midfielders, they look really exciting for you guys. But like you said, the defensive line, even Andrew Redmayne's probably past his peak. He's still handy, but I still think he's getting a few more mistakes into his game. That was Ryan Grant. I mean, he's also getting on a bit, but I don't think you guys are going to let him go just because he's been there forever now, and he's a great club servant. So it'll still be a really strong squad, and that's why for me it's hard to say I've got them coming first as well.
Yeah, look, and this happens to Sydney though. People will big us up, and one or two things just won't quite click, and it could go really badly. But I don't know of many people who don't see them. Victory have a good challenge, but most people have got Sydney first, and they've just done really well in the transfer market.
Well, I hope the previous form is correct and everyone hypes them up and they don't live up to the hype. But it's really hard not to look at that team and think, it's a pretty hot team.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Wellington Phoenix then. Over the ditch. They're not the cool kind of New Zealand team anymore. They're like old news, and I know lots of
the
people.
Firstborn son, the second son's here. We don't care about the firstborn anymore.
That's right. A lot of people wrote them off last year, which is why I'm putting them 13th. No,
I've got them 14th, mate.
Chiefy's not putting me on his wall this year, but he might because I don't have them making the 6th. I've got them coming 7th. I just think they've lost some players that like Kryev and Zavada have both left.
Paulson's gone as well.
Paulson, that's big. Barbaristas is great, and they've signed some decent players. Hideki Ishige, Japanese players coming over. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be quite as successful. I think people kind of figured them out towards the end of last season as well, and I think that's going to be the case this season.
Michael Rojas is a good pickup.
Yeah, but is he
probably past it though?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, he's 32. Where'd the time go? Gosh, he's so old.
Yeah, and Paolo Retre, like, good midfielder, but is he going to set the league alight? I don't think so. Like, yeah, that's all right. It's Wellington. They'll have fun at the Cake Tin, but I think they'll enjoy having rivals over in Auckland. But I don't see it being their best season. They're not terrible, but they're not great.
Yeah, I've got them coming eighth.
Yeah,
I had him 7th, but then the chat with MacArthur convinced me to put MacArthur from 8th to 7th. So yeah, I'll put them. I'll put them 8th.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on then to Western Sydney Wanderers and your boys. It looks good. Matter, a good core from last season. Have they got enough to actually push on this year?
Push on, like, definitely. Hopefully, I'd like to say that they can definitely improve from last season. I think Marcelo's the big loss. I think Tae Wook, the Korean guy that brought in, looks quite promising. He's got the same kind of build as Marcelo, and hopefully, to a similar extent, has got the same kind of aggression that Marcelo had. So I think that's been a good pickup. I think Kraya from Wellington's, I think he's a great pickup. Juan Mata didn't play too much in Japan, but from my understanding, speaking to the Wanderers CEO, the club president wanted him, but the coach didn't. So it wasn't a case of him being unfit. It was a case of just these stupid scenarios where the president overrules the coach. But he still hasn't played much. But I think if he keeps his fitness up, I think, he's going to be great. I like James Temilovsky that picked up from Marconi. He's an exciting prospect. Like a few of those MPL guys have picked up. I think it's crucial that Borrello had an injury season plagued by injuries last season. He keeps fit. He goes back to that form he had a couple of years ago. I think he could easily get himself back in Socceroos contention. I think that's the key for him, getting him to perform. Milanovic as well. There was talks about him going to potentially Croatia in the off season. I still think he's a really good prospect. I even think Joe Kay had him a shout for the Johnny Warren. I think if he's consistent and plays well and lives up to his potential, he's definitely got it to be one of the best players in the league. I'm excited to see how we'll go. Moving on from Marko Rudan with Alan Stajic. Marko Rudan's a different kind of vibe, just so angry, F-bomb every 2 words. And I think Alan Stajic's the kind of guy who doesn't need to shout to get his point across. I think he's a lot calmer, which I do like. And he seems just a nicer guy. And I know he finished last with Perth, but I think he's really good at promoting young guys. And I think he's really good at his team scoring goals. So if I can see a bit more excitement from my team and a few more goals, I'll be pretty happy. But I think we've got the team there to make the top 6. And I don't think Alan Stajic is going to have a stigma moment. So I think if things aren't going to go his way, I don't think he's going to lose it or snap. I think we can make the 6th. I've tipped us coming 4th. I think I've tipped us making the 6th the past how many years now? I've got it once, right? So it's got to work out for me again eventually. I think we can make the 6th. I think 4th. I'm hopeful of. I'm excited. And I hope that's going to happen sometime this season. Sydney FC is just going to fall over like that jersey. But anyway, yeah, I'm curious to see what you think. I've seen a lot of people talking about hyping up pretty well on social media, and I don't see them a top 2 contender. I'd like to see them somewhere in the top 6 contending, but I don't see them pressing for the top 2.
Yeah, look, I think some of the losses are big. Like Sonny Kittel didn't do much. He's no huge loss, but I think players like Marcelo, Hendricks, Lockie Brook, and Marcus Eunice, they were impact players for the Wanderers. Cryer is a big signing. Mata, if he's great, they're good pickups. I think it's big if Borrello stays fit. He just seems so injury prone, and he's got a couple of good games in him, but he's brittle, and I don't see him making the season like uninjured. I don't know what it is, but the Wanderers have had good squads before. They failed just to get things to click, and I wonder if, I don't know, maybe not having a huge name other than Mata in there helps their dressing room, but the vibes look okay. I think they make the 6 because they've got a strong squad. I don't know if they can take it all the way. So I've got them coming 5th. I think they've just, the Wanderers have something in them where they just capitulate, normally in Perth, but I don't think they've lost that. I don't think this squad yet has just those marks of a squad that can go the whole season without a hiccup. So 5th, they'll make the finals, I think, but if they can hold on, they go good. If Mata, Borrello, if they work, then it could be big. But we'll see. Yeah, not the worst, not the most biased from me.
Well, moving on to our last team, we promised we're trying to keep this video short. We're over 30 minutes now, so we didn't really. But anyway, Western United, I think we might be agreeing on this position going off what you haven't said. I've got them coming 12th. You got them coming 12th?
I've got them coming 12th. It's a team.
Is it an NPL team?
Like the ESPN preview has their key players as James Donachie, Noah Botic, and Seb Pasquale. Now, Seb Pasquale is great. He's a decent player. Botic has potential. James Donachie, I don't know if he is one of your key players. I think that's bad for a club. He's not the worst. He's not particularly great. Ibasuki is a huge pickup for them, and I think he could be great. I just don't see anyone who can really provide the service that he needs to score goals. They've lost Risdon, which is pretty big. Stephen Lustica as well. Daniel Pena's left the club, and Lockie Wales has even left. It just doesn't look good. Their saving grace is Brisbane look worse. So I think if they can just settle into Tarneet, they've got Ironbark's Fields now. If they can play all their games there, get some good vibes around the squad, start building for the future, I think that's what they need. Stability.
Yeah.
But I don't see it being a good season, and I don't see John Aloisi hanging there much longer. I think.
Yeah. I'm surprised he's hanging around this long.
Yeah. Either he walks or the club pushes him out. I know they've got some loyalty to him. He won the championship with them. But yes, I don't see it being their best season.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's our ladder predictions all done for this season. So it'll be good to look back at this at the end of the season and see how we got this all completely wrong. Anyway, let us know in the comments what you think the ladder is going to look like. Let us know how wrong we're going to be and how we stuffed over your team. Please like the video. It really helps us out. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Samuel, any words of wisdom to end the video with?
Words of wisdom, absolutely not. But see you at A-League games nice and soon. See you Unite round. Maybe people are traveling for that. Just happy A-League day. Welcome. Let's go. Let's go. Summer is here. 6 months of the best days of the life.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, how good. All right. Thanks for your time. We'll see you in the next video.